A Spanish galleon drifts for months with no crew, no storm, no wreck, just silence. 1493. Christopher Columbus sailed through waters he'd never seen before. His log entry is terse. He noted floating weed, masses of it thick enough to slow his ships. He wondered if they'd run aground. They hadn't. What he'd found was the Sargasso Sea, a region of ocean bound not by land but by currents. No coastline, no visible boundary, just water rotating in a slow, endless gyre. The Sargasso Sea sits in the North Atlantic, roughly between the Caribbean and Europe. It's defined by ocean currents, the Gulf Stream, the North Atlantic Current, the Canary Current. They circle it like invisible walls. The sea itself covers an area the size of Texas, 2 million square miles, and almost nothing grows on land there. It's oceanic desert, but it floats. The seaweed Columbus saw, Sargassum, still grows there in extraordinary volume, billions of tons. It forms mats so dense they've been reported to entangle propellers and trap small boats. But that's not what made sailors fear it. What terrified them was what came next. Stories, rumors, ships that entered the Sargasso and never left. By the 1800s, the legend had solidified. The Sargasso was a graveyard, a floating cemetery of derelicts. Sailors whispered about the Flying Dutchman, a ghost ship doomed to sail forever trapped in these waters. The stories grew darker, ships found abandoned, crews vanished without explanation. No wreckage, no bodies, no distress signal, just empty vessels drifting. The most famous account came in 1881. The British ship Ellen Austin reported finding an unmanned vessel in the Sargasso. The crew was gone, the ship was intact, so they sent men aboard to salvage her. Within hours, that salvage crew also vanished. The original crew of the Ellen Austin abandoned the ghost ship and sailed away. No explanation was ever recorded. The story is almost certainly false. Modern historians have found no official log from the Ellen Austin, no crew manifests, no insurance claims. The tale appears in sensationalist newspapers of the era but never in maritime records. It's a ghost story, but it shaped how people understood the Sargasso for generations. The real mystery isn't whether ships vanished, it's why people believe they did. The Sargasso is genuinely treacherous. The seaweed tangles propellers, the currents are unpredictable, there's little wind. A sailing ship could be becalmed for weeks. Provisions would run low, crews would sicken. Some ships were probably abandoned, but abandoned became vanished. Disaster became the supernatural. The Bermuda Triangle myth draws directly from Sargasso legends. Writers in the 1900s, 60s, and 70s rehashed old maritime tales and added new ones. Flight 19, the USS Cyclops, the Carol A. Deering, each disappearance was real, but the Sargasso's role was invented, retrofitted. The ocean doesn't need magic to be dangerous. What made the Sargasso genuinely hazardous was its isolation. There are no islands, no landmarks. In the age of sail, a ship could drift for months without knowing where it was. Charts were crude, compasses unreliable. A captain could navigate by dead reckoning and end up hundreds of miles off course. Thirst would kill the crew long before rescue arrived. The Sargasso also creates its own weather. The water is warm, evaporation is intense, sudden squalls form and vanish, waterspouts are common. A wooden ship caught in a waterspout would splinter in seconds. The crew would drown before anyone could launch a boat. There'd be no wreckage large enough to identify, just debris scattered across miles of open ocean. One ship we can verify was the Mary Celeste, found in 1872, abandoned but intact. Her crew was gone, the ship was seaworthy, her cargo was untouched. For decades, people claimed she was in the Sargasso. She wasn't. She was found near Gibraltar. The myth needed her anyway. It needed real disasters to anchor the legend in something that felt true. The actual Sargasso Sea is stranger than any legend. It's the only sea without a coastline. Its ecosystem is unique. Eels migrate thousands of miles to breed there. Certain fish live nowhere else on Earth. The seaweed, though abundant, provides shelter for juvenile fish and crustaceans. It's not a desert, it's a nursery. Climate change is altering the Sargasso now. The seaweed blooms are becoming unpredictable. Some years there's massive growth, other years almost none. The currents that define its boundaries are shifting. Scientists monitor it carefully. The sea that once terrified sailors is now a subject of urgent study, not because it's haunted, because it's changing. What the Sargasso teaches us is how fear shapes history. Real danger, currents, storms, isolation, gets amplified through repetition into something mythical. A crew that dies of thirst becomes a vanished crew. A lost ship becomes a supernatural one. The ocean doesn't need ghosts, it's lethal enough on its own. The Sargasso Sea remains one of the least explored regions on Earth, not because ships can't reach it, they can, but because it's economically worthless. There's no oil, no minerals, no trade routes, it's been left alone. In that silence, the old stories persist. The graveyard of ships, the floating desert, the mystery that doesn't need solving because the real story was always about us, our need to explain the unexplainable. Subscribe. Each week we uncover the historical mysteries that shaped how we understand our world.